Generation Alley-oop, a podcast about everything basketball. We designed this podcast for everyone who is passionate about basketball. I'm Curtis, and this is my co-host, Jake.
Hey now.
Now, I would like to introduce our player of the week, and that is Nikola Jokić. He's always been not just good, but amazing. But this year, I just think all around, he's just a triple-double machine. He's averaging 30 points, 13 assists? Yeah, 13 assists.
13 rebounds.
Oh, rebounds. And 11 assists, which is ridiculous numbers. It's insane. I think he got it up on the points and the rebounds, and he's still consistently having double-digit assists, which is insane for his size and his position.
Yeah, I think people kind of take him for granted. He's been doing it for so long. Obviously he's already won 3 MVPs. There's some fatigue there, but this year, no. He's taken it up a level. Last year he started scoring more. People might not notice. Everyone was talking about Shea and the Thunder, but he averaged close to 30 last year. He's bumped that up. But he's 30 years old now. It's close to a career high in rebounds. Obviously a career high in assists. 3-point percentage is a career high. Everything almost. It's just, I don't know. He just continues to find a new level. His plus minus is far and away the highest of his career. And he's doing it without a whole ton of, he's famously never had an all-star teammate. Jamal Murray might make it this year. But yeah, he's continuing to somehow get better even at 30.
Yeah. We talked about Giannis last time, and his field goal percentage is very close to Giannis, if not almost identical, which is insane of how different they play. He shoots threes. His 3-point percentage is over 40, which is ridiculous because he actually is starting taking them, and it's really good for the team. A lot of people, because of how amazing Shea is, they kind of are counting Jokić out a little bit. But looking at his stats now, back to the all-star teammate. Now, this could be the first time, but, he's doing it alone. And another thing that it's hard to get 10 assists with no all-star teammates. And he's just playing such a dominant role there.
To me, some of the shooting stats are the things that are the craziest thing, right? Do you want to hear some stats I was looking at earlier?
Sure.
So he's shooting, we talked about field goal percentage, the basic stats. He's shooting 63%.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but these aren't, Giannis is shooting similar, right? But Giannis is around the basket. Jokić is shooting a lot of jumpers, floaters, things.
And he's not going to miss them because he's so good.
It's just automatic. He's shooting, so his true shooting percentage, which is weighted for free throws, 3-pointers, he's at 73%.
Which is generational.
Yeah, for context, guys that the top guys that are high usage players like him, Shea is.
What's Shea's?
Shea's in the mid 60s often. Giannis is in the mid 60s. Luka's usually in the low 60s. Elite players. If you can get above 62%, that's elite. And if you're the only guys that are in the 70s typically are these guys like Rudy Gobert, Walker Kessler, DeAndre Jordan.
They don't even, it's usually the same as their field goal percentage.
Right, they don't.
Because that's all they do. Rudy Gobert's had 70% field goal percentages for the year, but as him shooting threes, and now, before it would always be pass it to Jokić, he does this floater move and he nails it, but he's shooting middies, it's not just those, and he's shooting really well on threes on actually decent,
5 a game, 42%. He did that last year too, so it's not, he's kind of, his 3-point percentage was, if you could find a weak spot, was, for most of his career, he'd be in the 30s, occasionally 38, and then the last 2 years, 42.
Either, so it'd just be then they'd leave him open, but now he's a threat from anywhere around the basket. You name a spot, and he's a threat from there. At the 3-point line, the mid-range line, he's getting much better here. The mid-range line, I said. The mid-range area, the free throw line, anywhere.
Yeah, even getting to the free throw line is a career high now, 7 attempts a game. So he's one of those guys. I think he could always be more aggressive with a shot. He looks to kind of pass first, so he's taking a little bit more kind of a shoot first mentality a little bit.
Still having amazing assist numbers.
Still getting triple doubles. Averaging triple double.
His stats are just getting better. The more shots he takes, the better he is. So
yeah, so listen to these stats. So shooting field goal percentage by distance. So this is just tells you different areas of the floor what he's shooting. around the basket, 0 to 3 feet, he's shooting 81%, and he's not dunking. He's kind of crazy twisting floors. Yeah, so that's
which are he's gotten hard. It's taking tougher shots inside now, and they're still dropping. That's insane. Like those are Rudy Gobert big man layup numbers.
Yeah, and it gets crazier though. So now 3 to 10 feet, which is an area where a lot of guys, if you could shoot even 50%, that's very hard.
It's floaters and it's like kind of like threes a little bit closer, but it's like if that's just like 5% better or 10% better than your 3-point percentage, that's amazing.
Yep. So he's 81% around the rim. That's a career high. 65% 3 to 10 feet, career high.
God.
It gets crazier. 10 to 16 feet. Guys shoot usually 35%.
Yeah, that's not an efficient zone, but for Jokic, everything.
59%.
Oh my
career high.
Goodness.
Now wait for this. Now maybe it's not a ton of attempts, but 16 feet out to the 3-point line. So long twos, basically.
Which are very, very tough shots, especially with good defense.
Yes, he's shooting 83%.
I know that's not many attempts, but I watched him play. I think it was the Kings.
Yep.
They lost that game, but he was like, I was thinking of the Jokic I knew and might have not loved entirely. It was just a lot of floaters, but he was like taking threes, making them. He was like, I saw he did like this corner floating, fading like shot and it switched, and it's just like ridiculous all around game.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a ton of attempts, but I would guess it's 30 to 40 attempts, and he's shooting 83%. So it's not like it's 5 attempts or something. It's not 5 or 6 or something like that. So
because some of these players, you look at their stats, they're like, oh, he's shooting 90% because he's 9 of 10 from that line. Like he's probably taken a lot because watching that game, he shot and made multiple. So I think it's really good.
Yep. And of course, we talked about 42% from three. So again, finding a new level. Denver's, I don't know if we could call them a threat given, we'll talk about it later with your top tiers, given how the strength of OKC relative to everyone else. But I mean, if there is a contender other than OKC, frankly, I think I might say Denver, right? It's kind of boring. They've been there for a long time. But
I think they might be able to make the leap. Now, here's what
and he never gets
game I really want to watch is Nuggets OKC conference finals.
Well, we saw it last year and it went 7. So
yeah, I mean, it's the only real team OKC is a threat to because they have great defense. Nuggets have great offense and great passing, great movement. Like, Shea versus Jokic is always a barn burner.
Yeah, and we can talk about it more in the team rankings, but we'll talk about some things. But both of them, frankly, have really good offense and defense. Some things surprising thing about Denver is their defense, but I could talk about him forever. So maybe we should wrap it up. I don't know, any final thoughts, or should we move on to your tier rankings?
One final thought, well, less of a thought, more of a statement, is that Jokic is, he's getting older. I think his focus might be start turning away from basketball and more to his horses, but he's just getting better. I don't know when it'll end. Now, I feel like he could be an early retirement dude who retires at like 33 or something, just because of the fact that he doesn't really have the effort to play, but I think he should keep going till he's really good, which could be a really long time. But let's move on to the main portion of our podcast, which is going to be finishing up our tier list. Welcome to the main portion of our podcast. Now, last time I was discussing a tier list. Now, I said those might be a little bit outdated because I made it a little more. It's going to be much more outdated now, but right now we're in the final 2 tiers, and I think they're not horrible looking at the standings now. All
right, so what are these 2 tiers? We're working our way up from worst to best, right?
Yes.
So you have 2 tiers left, and what would those tiers be?
Well, let's just start out with the one I'm going to talk about next, which is deep playoff run, meaning that they're going to make it to the playoffs, and I think they're going to do pretty well in there. Now, first up, we have
And so, sorry, just to clarify that there's 1 tier above that, right? Which is your best of the best.
Yes.
Okay.
Champ contenders.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, we have the New York Knicks. Now, I think pretty open Eastern Conference with the Celtics and the Pacers out. I think they can come in here and dominate really far, but then it's another situation. Just I don't know if they can get past some of the other and I'll discuss this more. I think they'll get stopped in the conference.
Yeah, I mean they've had pretty decent playoff success. Obviously, you're right to your point. The East is soft, right? I mean, we have the Cavaliers and this year the Pistons, right, are the surprise team in the East, but certainly they have as good a chance almost as anyone to make it. They have a new coach, Mike Brown, who I think has been doing.
Yeah, I like it better than Tom
Yeah,
players 48 minutes.
yeah, he definitely has a bit of a better kind of style, right? It used to be Brunson, just hammering him. It was so
And then he gets
centric.
injured and your team dies.
Right, and it runs him into the ground. He runs out of steam. His body just can't take it. So now they're sharing the ball a bit more. He still obviously has a heavy load, but
that's Brunson for you. It's a all-star like team leader. But I think Cat's having a slightly off season, but it's Cat. He's still really good. I think Cat and Brunson, make a really good team. I think Cat with that shooting strength allows them to have a really good shooting team out there, and I think the pick and roll is really dangerous with those two because then you could either can go to a three. It's like
yeah, and then you got Bridges in the corner or doing other things. Anunoby, Josh Hart's been kind of up and down. I don't know.
But they have a really big. Their depth is insane. They have like so many people. You're telling me their lineup. I'm like, they had him. I forgot about that. And
yeah, they got McBride. They got. As a Jazz fan, I probably would tell you that Jordan Clarkson will only hurt your team. but
I mean, for a shooting team that wants shooting, could help them from the bench.
Yeah, but
as a deep bench player, he's not getting as big as a workload.
Okay, so you got the Knicks. I think I'd agree with them, just given that they're in the East, that they certainly have the capability to make a pretty deep playoff run. So, all right, who else you got?
Next, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now,
Okay.
Ants had a little bit of a tough start, but and especially the fact that they are I think 0-6 on above 500 teams, but then like 9-0 or something against above.
That is a crazy stat, especially given who you're going to play in the playoffs. Above 500 teams, right?
Yes. But I just think against the Suns, who they lost to in a really close battle, Ant-Man dropped 44. I'm pretty sure it was which is getting back on Ant-Man is stats, and like the threes are falling, which has been an issue. Now I just think that they're going to even out. They've had a pretty easy schedule, but they were really close with those teams. I think as they get more developed and Ant keeps getting better, I think they could end up doing good, and they'll play 82 games. They'll be much into their zone more when they start the playoffs, so I think they could do real damage there, and they have gone to the conference finals multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, Ant's so young. He's actually started off really well. He was shooting like 50% from three early. He's tailed off a bit now. Had some injuries, I think, but who's doing really well for them quietly is Julius Randle. He's having
an amazing season.
Yeah.
Now, as a fantasy player, I can tell you that he is dominating. He's not on my team, sadly, but he's doing really good. His stats are because he's always been an inefficient scorer who like shoots bad shots and not the funnest player to watch, but he's stepping it up to like a good role player with Ant on his side. I think Ant can give dimes to him and help him play.
I mean, frankly, he might be an all-star. He's averaging 25 points a game this year. When he was with the Knicks, he was kind of a hub for a big guy. He'd get like 6 assists. And he's back to that. I'm looking now, 7 rebounds, almost 6 assists. Shooting pretty well, 52% overall.
And, he's always been that not fun take
he takes a lot of mid-rangers.
Like he'd take that fadeaway double team mid-ranger in like crunch time. It would be like, why?
Yeah.
Brunson was open, and then now it's like he has a better team. So I think he's a team with that he's a better fit on.
I mean, I think their biggest limitation is like a point at point. They don't, Conley is old.
Yeah, he's old.
Rob Dillingham hasn't really shown much
he's
yet.
He's horrible. Like he was like stuff's coming out. He's having real trouble like getting the ball up to the rim even as a really short guy. They've played Ant at point, and he's a good ball handler, but I don't know if he can take the pressure of being their point guard, being their best scorer, being their most athletic guy.
Yeah, I think their usual starting lineup is DiVincenzo at the point, and then obviously Ant doing a lot of the responsibilities as well. So no true
bring up their ball a
lot because those other guys are just so undersized. So I certainly think that could be an issue in the playoffs, and they've had a lot of trouble with their bench. I mean, I've seen on-offs with Gobert off. Their defense is just
in like next year or 2 years from now, that could be done. It could be like he is not up. He's old now. Yep. What are you gonna do? And then it's like, losing Cat actually probably definitely help their defense. But with him, it's just like he's getting old and he's still a great defender. And for me, I think a great fit for their team. as a good lob guy. Him and Ant, I've seen some pretty nice lobs. I think that once he ggets old, they're going to need to get another piece there.
Yep, for sure. And then they made the conference finals 2 years in a row, so certainly got to kind of put them in that deep playoff run category. I think so. I agree with that. Who's next?
The Houston Rockets, now great young team in a hard Western Conference. I mean, they fell #1 seed, right?
So they're 10-4. They have the #1 offense, believe it or not, which we can talk about. But 10-4, they're kind of right in the mix. Obviously, OKC is the #1 seed, but I think they're kind of right in that 2 through 5, which is all real bundled up. The Nuggets, the Rockets.
Yeah, #1 offense is for a really young team, and I think that's really good. Remember, like just a few years ago, they were like, I don't think this team can do anything. And then they make the play-in playoffs, and it's like, wow, this team stepped it up.
Yeah, and then they had Kevin Durant, obviously, and he adds a whole new wrinkle. Şengün's really taken a step.
Yeah, I know about the add to KD. I think he fits well. He's still that mid-range dominator, and they kind of needed a good shooter who can space the floor, and I think he fits that well.
Yeah, and this is all with Van Vliet out. Everyone kind of thought they'd kind of struggle without having him
from that.
But no, and they're doing it in an interesting way. They're the #1 offense, and you don't think of them as being some crazy shooting team. And they're shooting really well from three. I don't know how long that's going to last, but the biggest thing they're doing is they're getting offensive rebounds at like a rate that
because they have the big lineup with like Steven Adams, Jabbar Smith, and then like Şengün, which is a gigantic lineup, and it's just like. Yeah. Pull down those boards and they then just pack, and it's like free. Because when you get an offensive rebounds nowadays, you just put it right up and you get like a free bucket. So it's like big for a good offensive rebound.
So they are miles above everyone else in terms of offensive rebounds, and so it gives you extra possession. So that's kind of I think like the secret to them having a great offense is just crashing the boards. You don't think Şengün and Adams would work together, but it's working. So I think they're just a fun team to watch, and they're a physical team. They're the kind of team you really don't want to play against, I think. And then now you have Durant adding that shooting element.
And I can tell you from hours and hours of playing 2K, he's not fun to play with. He's really, you leave him open for a second because he's also still big and athletic. Like, you leave him open for a second, he'll pack it on you. So it's like he can space the floor. I think he's a great role player, taking in the role-playing position for them.
So then they got Reed Shepherd now having a good year in his second year after kind of an off rookie year.
Yeah, I think it's just as being that high of a pick on a really good playoff-bound team, I think it's just like, right? Yeah. I mean, I'd see games where like they'd even have like guards injured, and he'd be sitting on the bench the whole time.
Yeah, usually a top pick, you just could just run them out there. The games don't matter, but they're obviously were in a playoff run last year. So anyway, totally agree with that. If anything, I'd maybe even put them in the in the championship contenders bracket.
I think I have a few teams in there. I think it's just like you don't want to have like 5 teams.
And they haven't proved it yet in the postseason. This model. So, all right, who next?
We have the Denver Nuggets now. Going back to our player of the week, Jokić. And Jamal Murray is actually finally because he's
healthy.
Yeah, it's always been like I think he could make his first All-Star game, and then he misses like 2 weeks, and it's like miss another 2 weeks, and it's like Jokić has scored like 2 50-point games. It's like Jokić has to be the only All-Star on this team, but with those two players, could actually have Jokic's first teammate All-Star. And if not, that's just because of a tough All-Star team. And it's just he plays like an All-Star, at least so far. They only played 16 games.
Yeah, they're 12-4 right now. They actually strangely just lost to the Kings. They had been rolling before that.
Yeah, but some of these games just fall away. But I just think they're having really good team chemistry. I mean, Jokić has all of that. I feel like with the assists, rebounds, and points.
But Murray being healthy, Aaron Gordon suddenly, not suddenly, in the last 2 years, he's become
he had that
50-point game.
50-point game where it was like 3 on and on and on. I was like, guard him, and they're still thinking he's Aaron Gordon, so they won't guard him, and then he nails much.
He's shooting 44% from 3 this year, and he's done it for the last few years. He's into a shooter.
And he's always been like, okay, he's shooting 30% on like 3 a game, but he's started shooting them.
Yeah, 5 a game. Christian Braun's out for a while, which is maybe a problem. They don't have a ton of depth.
Yeah, because he stepped it up last year as like the best transition player, Christian Braun, but hurts that injury.
They traded Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson, kind of I think mainly to save money. Cam Johnson hasn't done much yet.
But I mean, it helps their passing without MPJ. He's a most.
True.
He'll take it like Jokić passed him, you're not seeing it go back, and
Yeah.
then it could be a bad 3, could be a good 3. He's very unpredictable.
But yeah, like I said earlier, I mean they're the number
3 seed.
number 3 seed, but in terms of their offensive rating, they're the number 2 offense, just a shade behind Houston.
I mean, that's surprising because they've always been the Jokić one-man show, but then it's always been like they have some inefficient shooter. Like MPJ would always be like, I don't know if they're helping. They have some inefficient shooters, so that would bring them down. But they're actually very consistent. They're having great games. I haven't really watched them have a really bad game. That's also because Jokić is not missing games.
He never misses games. It helps when your highest usage player shoots 73% true shooting and passes the ball and puts his teammates in a great spot.
Yeah, and that's helping Murray. As long as I just fear that it'll end up in the playoffs or something. Murray gets hurt, and then it's like they get to the conference finals. In game 1, Murray's out with like a bruised ego or something, and then the Suns will just roll by them because they don't have a secondary player. But he's averaging 23 points, 7 assists, which is 7 assists. He's also helping it because he's never been the greatest passer. Jokić have always been passing to him, but I saw some dimes in the game I watched to Jokić.
I mean, those two between them are averaging 53 points, 18 assists, 17, 18 rebounds.
It's ridiculous.
That's a pretty good 1-2 punch right there.
Like 18 rebounds or something, which is ridiculous.
So it's really, I think, a question of depth for them,
and injuries.
Yeah, but definitely contenders.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this is the team which I was saying Knicks could have an issue. They've had a slow start in the Eastern. They're not playing amazingly.
Definitely not like last year when they were
just
winning
dominating.
60 games and miles ahead, right? They're 12-6.
I think it just comes down to, wow, look at the standings. Detroit's really good. Once again, I said last episode, I just don't think I can do it in the playoffs. But the Cavs, they've always been a pretty good playoff team. I think.
Mitchell, honestly, though, the challenge with him is I don't think he's made it out of the second round, even back to his Utah days.
Yeah,
so
here's
small,
the thing.
and Garland's small, right?
But their team they're not using Mitchell because before it would be like, Donovan Mitchell, 30-point game, but then they lose because Donovan Mitchell gets a 30-piece and nobody else does anything because he's shooting every time. I think, they're starting to get a lot of points. Garland's back, which could really help them.
Yep.
I was just looking through and I was like, wait, Darius Garland is back from injury? Wow.
Yeah, so he gets hurt a lot kind of quietly. And, Evan Mobley obviously is really good, but he hasn't really taken any sort of step. He's not particularly efficient this year. They got Lonzo Ball, who had played for years.
Could be if he's healthy, could be a good role player for them.
Yeah, he was kind of their going to be one of their wing. He was kind of their Ty Jerome replacement. At least that was the theory. But he's not shooting the ball well, not like Ty Jerome did certainly.
He's not going to shoot the ball well usually.
Right.
He fixed this shot, but
yeah, it's a kind of ugly shot. But yeah, so I think they're missing a guy like Ty Jerome in his shooting, and obviously Garland. So I'm not worried about them, but they have not proven it in the playoffs. And I think, if they went up against the Knicks again, I think the Knicks would, I don't know about having the advantage, but they match up well against a team like the Knicks. So I put them maybe, in a deep playoff run potential, but probably not necessarily a contender.
Okay, now next we have the championship contenders.
All right, so this is your top tier?
Yes.
And how many teams do you have in this tier?
3.
So
now there's one team that I am, I still pretty much stand by this, but you might disagree a little bit, and if you're watching this, you might
excuses.
disagree.
Who is it?
Milwaukee Bucks.
Milwaukee Bucks. Are you telling me this is the Milwaukee Bucks that are currently 8-9 and outside of the plan?
Okay. Look, they've had a little bit of a slow start in the
They've lost 4 in a row. Granted, that was after you made this list. So I'll give you that.
And also, Giannis is injured.
Yep.
Look, I just got to say something. Hopefully the podcast curse doesn't happen because I put Giannis as player of the week.
Jokić doesn't get it.
Yeah, Jokić doesn't get it here, Tom. But I just think maybe it could get switched with the Nuggets or something. But I just think Western Conference. Tim and the. But anyway, I think big.
Is it just Giannis? Is that good? What's your reasoning for these?
I think Ryan Rollins is having a great season. I think just they'll have. I think they could sneak up like they don't have the best regular season. They're the 6th seed. They barely make the playoffs. But then but then they're like, we get to play the 3 seed. We beat them. Then we beat an easy, like, I don't know, Heat team or something. And then it's just like that. It's like, wow, we're getting there. I just think if Giannis is healthy in the playoffs, which is always a question mark, I think they could do it.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the heavy load that a guy like Jokić has.
There has to be a team from the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, somebody's got to make it. But Giannis, I mean, my God, he does not have a lot of support there, right? I mean, I guess they'd have Miles Turner now, but
he's not having the greatest season as you thought.
He's shooting the ball well from 3, but otherwise, yeah, he's not like setting the world on fire.
As I thought he might be able to.
I mean, a healthy Giannis is always dangerous, but to put him as championship contenders, I think I'd probably maybe question that a little. But again, obviously they've lost these 4 in a row because Giannis is not there, and they were a decent team, 3 games above 500 before he went down. So, all right, you got 2 more teams. Who's next?
Next, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I like the Lakers. Just
you like the Lakers? Okay.
Okay, you hate the Lakers.
I do.
But
I'm trying to.
I say I like their team game wise. Not. Okay. I know Luka may not. I mean, he's on one hand he's fun to watch because he has a bunch of points. But when he's playing the team you're rooting for, like when he's playing against it, like say. When he's playing your team that you want to win, he just goes in there and draws the foul, and it's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're talking about, like, there was not a championship contender, but not fun to watch or something. There's
I mean, look, they're in second place, 12-4 in the West.
In a hard
without LeBron.
Yeah, and LeBron's coming back. He had the 14 assist game. He's been taking the roles of role player. He's getting assists because, like, it's hard for Luka. He's, of course, putting up crazy numbers, but it's like, score or pass. And then LeBron's like, I can pass. And then he gets better looks. Because Luka's a really good off the dribble guy, but every single NBA player would rather have catch and shoot than a dribble.
They certainly have gotten lucky in close games this year. I mean, they have a middling net rating in terms of their plus minus is worse than teams like the Hawks, the Magic, the Celtics, the Suns, the Heat, the Raptors, teams that are, you don't think as being kind of serious contenders. So I think they've gotten, maybe that's just because they have these star players, they can win close games. And I guess they're dangerous, right? You got Luka, you got LeBron back. Austin Reeves suddenly is scoring 50.
I think he might, with LeBron coming back, might slow down a little, but I still think he could stay the second option, which would be really good.
Yeah, I mean, watching LeBron in his first 2 games back, I think he's still kind of getting his conditioning back and stuff, but he's definitely taking a back seat a bit in terms of his scoring role with Luka and Austin Reeves out there. He's distributing a lot. He's passing the ball well. He's not shooting the ball great yet.
But his free throw numbers are insane. I think because of the thing, he bumps and the refs are like, foul on the defense. Even if it's not the funnest to watch, it's the stat line will say that he's really good, and that's what
LeBron.
He is.
I mean, he still looks like LeBron when he kind of gets ahead of steam, and Luka obviously puts up huge numbers. So they're top heavy. But they do have 3 stars. So I think they could certainly make noise in the playoffs when rotations shorten, and as long as they can stay healthy. I mean, Luka is not always the healthiest. LeBron is the oldest player we've ever seen.
You may have seen older players, but they're like
certainly to play at any sort of high level.
And even play a game, really.
Yeah, the 23rd season. So see if he can kind of stay healthy for the year and into the playoffs. All right, so I think there's one team left. I doubt it's going to be a surprise to anyone,
yes,
right?
Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yep.
Now, on one hand, I don't need to say anything about this team because we obviously know. But on the other hand, I could talk all day about why they're my number one. And this is, if there was an extra tier called the teams that are going to win the championship, that they'd be in there. Just purely because their defense is record-breaking by far first. Record-breaking, right?
Yeah. I want to give you a stat here. So looking at their defensive rating, it's a 102.8. And for context, the number 2 team is a 110. So in other words,
now it's better to have lower numbers now because
so in other words,
points other teams score.
So that means they give up 102.8 points out of every 100 possessions. The next team is 110. So that's over 7 points.
Which is ridiculous because that means basically
You don't see
It's
spreads like that.
that's like taking 100 free throws almost and shooting really good. Like that's a lot of teams. It's like they shoot. When you make a shot, you get 2 points. A lot of teams, that's like if they were playing, they get 1 point on their shots because it's almost 100 to 100 ratio, which is ridiculous.
In today's NBA, teams score so much more. So the difference between them and the number 2 team, which is a Detroit team that is an awesome defense.
Yeah, with Jalen Duren stepping up and actually trying.
Right. That's the same as the difference between Detroit and the number 22 team, Portland. So the difference between 1 and 2 is as big as the difference between 2 and 22. So they're so far ahead of everyone else. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. And they're a top 5 offense too.
Yeah, like their offense is like you see their offense, you're like that's
4.
like watching their games. It's like, oh my god, they're such good offense. And then you come and you say they're record-breaking defense. I'm like, how? So it's like by far they're like really good in. It's not a doubt that they're number 1. They've only lost 1 game, and that game was kind of just like, it's like you can't win every single game. But
they might win 70 this year. People didn't know if they'd actually go for it, right? Usually they're just focused on that.
I think, but here's what.
They might not even have to go for it.
Yeah, here's what I think they should. If I were the Thunder, what should do? Go play really hard, but then it's like when basically there's like 6 games left, or even like 10 or anything, you're guaranteed to have the 1 seed. Rest of your guys. Maybe say Shay's like, I want some practice playing, but like, I don't need to win these games. I just think locking down the 1 seed is really important. But I think after you have that, you don't need to win. You don't need to go for a Warriors. You don't need to go for 74 wins to break the record. Like, you don't need that. Like, once again, the Warriors, they said they were, after they won their insane season, they were gassed, so they didn't do as good in the playoffs, and the playoffs is really what matters. So
also, I mean, they could put out their B team, like
and probably beat teams like
A.J. Mitchell, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe,
which is a really good team and could beat like the teams in my play-in teams easily, probably.
I don't know how they find this. Oh, and by the way, their second best player, J-Dub, has not played a game yet.
I know, and I think they're just waiting as long as they can, so they're like saving him up for the playoffs, and then
there's no rush, right?
Yeah, but here's the go: if he goes in the playoffs, that's like you take the best team by far, and then you add an all-star to their team, and it's like this is going to be easy. I think they're going to sweep the first round, probably sweep the second, maybe have like a close series against the Lakers or Nuggets, and then have a good series in the finals, and then win. Like play like a Thunder, like what Blazers or Suns series or Grizzlies is not going to be particular.
I mean, really, the only thing I think that could take him down is an injury, right? This day and age, guys get hurt all the time. Shea obviously doesn't, and he's so consistent. I heard an interesting stat that they're winning by such big margins that he has not played in the fourth quarter in something like 9 of the last 10 games. He hasn't needed to. It's wild seeing them.
Like, I was looking at his stats, like, he's averaging like 30s.
32. Almost a point a minute. Only 33 minutes a game. So.
32. That's only 33 minutes ridiculous. 32 points. And then, but it's not like this game he had 50, and this game he had 20, and this game he had 10. It's like 32, 28, 36. Like, it's 30s all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
if you want to, I know I have a lot of stats, but I like stats. So you want
to
hear something? Listen to this. These are his scoring per game.
Okay, let's see.
Talk about consistency.
Last game, he had 37,
31.
Wait, 31, 33. Then he only played 28 minutes and he got 23. It was a blowout against the Pelicans.
They won by 40, I think.
Yeah. 33, 30, 28, 35, 30, 35, 30, 30. Like,
and then keep going.
31, 23.
Because he played 28 minutes.
Yeah. 55 in a 45-minute, like, overtime win. And then...
So basically, he scored between 28 and 37 in all but 3 games, I think. So, yeah, he's consistent. Let's just leave it at that. And then...
Because some guys, they put up great numbers, but then it's like, this game, his team got blown up by 100. I'm saying, for example, his team lost. He only played 20 minutes, and he had 2 points or something. And then this game, he had 50, and then I'd much rather have a consistent player, because that's why they're 14-1. He's dropping all those great points, and you're like, well, he didn't have an amazing game because he only played like 25 minutes because of the team being so good. Like he got probably that 23 in the first like 2 quarters, and then just like, okay, I don't have to play anymore.
Yeah, they're just so
insane.
I mean, and we were watching the Jazz game the other day, and inexplicably the Jazz were winning, and
yeah, like it's surprisingly third quarter, 3 minutes left. In 3 minutes they got like 20 points.
The Jazz were up 84-77, I think, and then they went on a 31-4 run. So I blinked and the game was over. But yeah, anyway, I mean, he's doing well. Beyond well. And, we talked about Jokic's true shooting percentage. The only guy even in the same zip code is Shea. I think he's up to 67%, which is historic. It wasn't for Jokić, 6-7. So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to them playing Denver. Denver was the only real team that tested them. They took them to 7. That will be a fun series. Hopefully,
yeah, like I was saying before, always going to be with the 2 consensus best players. I'm going to say right now because they are in a game with other great if Jamal Murray comes also, or if he doesn't and just stays healthy, just because of the Western Conference.
Yep.
With another great team, it's just depth on really good team.
Yep. So anyway, we've rambled on for about 35 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think 36 now.
Any closing thoughts?
One final thing is that we've talked about a lot of teams, we've talked about a lot of players.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you guys watching have any suggestions of anything, want to just tell us anything, just whatever you're watching, you can comment, send us an email. Our email is generationalyout@gmail.com. It'll be hooked wherever. We'll read them and we'll listen. Probably get shared. Because there's a lot of teams in the league. There's 30 different teams, and they all have their own backstory. There are a lot of their own fans. So there's a lot to talk about every single team.
Yeah, it's cool. People talk about everyone just shoots threes, but every team's very different this year. Houston does it a lot different than Detroit. It does a lot different than OKC, who does it different than LA. So it's cool. So
if you have a thought about like my favorite team is this team, I like them because this, and you just want to share anything really, we love it. Right. Any of the comments. This was our second episode. We finished up the tier list, which took a little bit of discussion, as you've seen. This is Generation Alley signing off.